Do you ever dream of your relationship as a storybook romance, a fairy tale straight out of child books, or Friends, filled with magical moments?
But sometimes real life feels more like a twist-filled drama full of complex challenges and misunderstandings.
Welcome to our deep dive into real-world relationship dynamics. We are Stephan
and Monica, and we are here to help you build a passionate, connected, loving relationship. Today we continue our journey into the not-so-fairy tale aspect of relationships.
Today we're focusing on a common but often overlooked issue, the instance of being right. How do such moments reshape the narrative of our love stories?
But fear not. We're not just discussing the problem. We're here to equip you with effective real-life strategies redefined through our personal experiences and extensive work with couples.
Our mission is to transform these common relationship pitfalls into opportunities for profound growth and stronger connections.
Make sure to stick around till the end for practical insights and strategies that are effective and very actionable, all designed to refresh and enrich your love story.
So, how do we recognize being right? How does it sound like? See if you can spot some of these signs in your relationship. Here are a couple of examples.
I told you this would happen. I'm always right.
You just didn't get it, do you? Let me explain it again.
There's no point in arguing with me. I know I'm right.
As usual, you're wrong about this.
My way is the best way. End of discussion.
Okay, let's get straight into it. Have you ever felt like every discussion turns into a contest, where the aim is not to understand, but to win? It's when "I see your point" is replaced by "I need to prove I'm right." This is about insisting on our own perspective, often at the expense of our partner's feelings. This behavior is known as being right or dictating in relationships. And being right divides, it separates, it kills intimacy.
Sure, having an opinion is important, as long as we remain open to hear and learn from other opinions. What being right is referring to is those moments when we dominate the conversation and disregard our partner's point of view. What's one situation that comes to mind? We'd love for you to share that in a comment down below. This way we can all learn from each other.
This insistence on being right often manifests in ways that can be subtle but deeply impactful and hurtful. It's not about sharing ideas. Many times, if we are not careful, we find ourselves dominating the conversation and discrediting our partner's point of view.
One way this shows up is through continuously arguing without considering your partner's perspective.
Yes, you want babies. You have baby fever.
I do not have baby fever.
Oh, please, you are obsessed with babies and marriage and everything that's related to babies and marriage.
It's like a one-way street, my way or the highway, where only your perspective matters and your partner's thoughts are dismissed or overlooked. This can leave them feeling unheard and unvalued.
Another sign is dismissing or invalidating your partner's feelings or opinions. Of course, I'm not saying you should never disagree. It's about denying the validity of what your partner feels or thinks. About telling them they can't be feeling like that, or that it's not possible, or they are overreacting. This can be incredibly damaging, as it erodes the foundation of respect, of understanding in a relationship.
Nah, I know you, okay? I know the thoughts that you have in your head.
Let's dive deeper into the subtleties with example number 3. It's often the frequent correcting over trivial matters that erodes the bond in a relationship. Think about it. Constantly correcting your partner, whether it's about the way they've organized the kitchen or forgetting a minor detail in a story, can make them feel constantly under a microscope. This relentless need to correct can create a dynamic where your partner feels they're walking on eggshells, always anticipating criticism for even the smallest missteps.
The debate tag shouldn't be at the top left corner, it should be at the bottom right corner.
And then there's the shift from conversation to confrontation. Ever find yourself in a discussion that spirals into a debate with the sole goal of winning? It's a common trap. In these moments, the conversation is no longer about reaching a mutual understanding or solving a problem together. Instead, it becomes a battleground where the aim is to outsmart or outmaneuver your partner. This competitive edge in communication can be damaging, as it pushes the couple further apart instead of fostering understanding and closeness.
And Dad, you know that mailman that you got fired? Didn't steal your Playboys? Ross did.
And last but not least, a major red flag is their refusal to apologize or admit fault. When one partner adopts an infallible stance, uttering statements like, "I told you this would happen," "I'm always right," it creates an imbalance in the relationship. This stubborn attitude can be detrimental, as it shuts down open communication and mutual respect. It's essential for both partners to be able to own up to their mistakes and learn from them. Relationships thrive on the partner's ability to be humble and understanding that we're all human and fallible. When one partner insists on always being right, it stifles growth and empathy within the relationship.
We were on the break!
Now, let's pivot towards solutions. Changing how we communicate can sometimes mean just replacing them with these things you do or these things you say.
Absolutely, Monica. To make them easier to remember, think of the acronym OASIS. Let's start with the O, our first strategy. It is the one-leg metaphor. Lecture from one leg. Try standing on one leg next time you find yourself lecturing. Stand on one leg, then lecture as much as you like. Remember, just like we need more than one leg to stand stable, there are more viewpoints than just our own. This visual reminder can open us up to consider our partner's perspective.
Now let's talk about language, our second strategy that starts with A. A like and. Consider replacing but with and. The word and is inclusive and connecting, unlike but, which often negates what was said before. And an extra tip is to add a complement to your and to soften the approach. What if you said, I understand your point and I really admire how passionately you feel about this issue, instead of, I understand, but I think you're overreacting. Remember, and will lead you to a space of us, whilst but tends to separate you from your partner.
Our third strategy is the strategy of S, as in shoulder-to-shoulder strategy. Next time you find yourself in a heated debate, try sitting or standing shoulder-to-shoulder, symbolizing partnership. It's a little but powerful trick that tends to transform conflicts. Here is a tip. Choose an object that represents the subject you're debating and put it in front of you both. Not in between you and your partner, but in front of you both. It can be anything you have around the house. This shifts the focus from each other to the issue at hand.
And here's the next idea, starting with the letter I, as I'm curious. Start a conversation with curiosity. Begin with I'm curious about and ask a question about your partner's perspective. It could be as simple as I'm curious about what made you feel that way. This not only shows that you're open to understanding, but can also help diffuse potential defensiveness and encourage a more open, honest dialogue.
So here we go. Whenever you feel tempted to fall for the intimacy killer being right, remember the simple acronym, OASIS. 1. Lecture from one leg.
2. Use and instead of but.
3. Sit or stand shoulder to shoulder.
And 4. Say, I'm curious about. The last S is simply to remind ourselves again of the power of shoulder-to-shoulder stance.
Remember this, and you might be surprised how different the outcome will be.
And for a bit of fun, try Yes and story building. It's a cooperative storytelling game where you build on each other's ideas. It demonstrates that harmony and communication is more fruitful than being right. Here's how it goes. One of you starts with a sentence, anything like, yesterday I saw a strange cat in the garden. Then the other continues with, yes, and the cat was wearing a tiny hat. The story continues with each of you adding to it, always starting with yes and. It's a playful way to practice building on each other's thoughts instead of contradicting them.
Implementing these tools will enable you to prevent conflicts and enrich your relationship with empathy and understanding. As you shift from the need to always be right to engaging in more constructive dialogue, you transform what could be a relationship stumbling block in a solid foundation for a more passionate, connected, and loving relationship. If you want to learn more about yourself and your behavior in a relationship, make sure to take our quiz. It's completely free and it's linked down below.
Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you found it helpful. Subscribe for real solutions for real couples. Let's transform your love story together.